A long time ago, nestled between misty hills and whispering woods, there was a quiet village where the stars always seemed to shine a little brighter, and the wind carried the scent of blooming flowers, even in winter. In this village lived Grandma Elsie, a gentle woman with silver hair that shimmered like moonlight and eyes as warm as the sunrise. Our cottage was a cozy place filled with scents of cinnamon tea, the soft ticking of clocks, and shelves lined with jars of herbs, buttons, and a bit of colored thread. But most magical of all was a quilt. Grandma Elsie's quilt wasn't like any ordinary quilt. It was stitched from tiny squares of fabric she had collected throughout her life, each one telling a story, each one holding a memory. There was a square from her first dance, a patch from her grandfather's scarf, and even a piece of dress she wore when she first held her granddaughter, Lila. Lila was 7, full of questions and curiosity. And every Friday night, she came to sleep over at Grandma's house. It was their special time. They would bake cookies, brush their teeth together, and finally snuggle beneath the magic quilt. "Tell me a quilt story," Lila would whisper at Grandma, tugged the corners of the quilt around her, and Grandma always smiled. "Close your eyes, little one. Let's see where the quilt takes us tonight." As Lila closed her eyes that night, the room grew quiet. The fire crackled softly. The wind danced outside the window, and then the quilt began to shimmer. Just a little, like stars behind thin clouds, the colors deepened, glowed, and then, shh, they were flying, not with wings, but floating gently, like a feather on a breeze. Lila opened her eyes to find herself sitting beside Grandma on the quilt, which now soared through the night sky like a magic carpet. Below them lay forest with golden leaves, rivers that sparkled like crystals, and the mountain tops dusted with sugar snow. The sky was a velvet blue sprinkled with constellation that winked at her as she passed. "Where are we going?" Lila asked. "Anywhere the poet remembers," Grandma replied. First, they drifted over a valley where music filled the air. Down below, animals were dancing, a fox with a flute, a bear on the drum, an owl singing in harmony. "The music meadow," Grandma said, her eyes twinkling. "I came here once ago, long ago, when I was your age and feeling sad. The music cheered me up." They landed just long enough for Lila to dance with a rabbit wearing a tiny bow tie. Then, with a flutter of fabric, the quilt lifted off again. Next, they soared across the sea of dreams, where giant jellyfish floated through the air, glowing pink and blue, lightening the sky like lanterns. Whales leapt in slow motion, their songs deep and calming. This place is made of dreams people forget when they wake up. Grandma said softly. But the quilt remembers. Lila leaned back, letting the warm wind brush her cheek, her eyes growing heavy. One final stop, the Garden of Time. Here, enormous flowers bloomed and closed with every tick of an invisible clock. Butterflies flitted through the petals as large as cells, and every scent smelled like a memory. Birthday cake, fresh rain, and pages of a favorite book. Grandma knelt beside a glowing tree with silver leaves. "This is where I come to remember," she said. "Every stitch in our quilt is a part of our journey, Lila. Stories, laughters, even quiet moments like this." Lila looked up at her grandmother and whispered, "Will I have a quilt like this one day?" Grandma smiled. "You already are. Every moment we share becomes part of our own magic quilt. One day, you'll tuck someone in, and your stories will take them flying too." The stars blinked slowly, like they were yawning. The quilt began to lower them gently, drifting like a falling leaf, until they were back in Grandma's warm, quiet room. Lila didn't even open her eyes as the quilt settled over her and Grandma kissed her forehead. "Sleep well, little dreamer," Grandma whispered. As the fire last glow flickered and the wind outside hummed a lullaby, the magical quilt glowed ever so faintly, holding memories and stories, dreams, and a promise of more adventures to come. The end.